Just over 50 days after its election in the biggest landslide in Australian electoral history, the O'Farrell government is about to renege on one element of its contract with the people of New South Wales. It will seek Liberal and National party room support next week for retrospective legislation to dishonour solar bonus contracts with more than 100,000 households. It will seek to lower the contracted price of their feed-in electricity tariffs from rooftop solar panels. Some government backbenchers are up in arms over this, and particularly the symbolic nature of the Coalition's first breach of trust with the electorate. Earlier today I spoke with Energy Minister Chris Hartcher. Minister, welcome back to government. You acknowledge, do you not, that you are dishonouring a clear election commitment to maintain the solar bonus scheme and its contractual commitments to current investors?
We are honouring our clear electoral commitment to the people of New South Wales. We have pledged the people of New South Wales we will restart the economy, we will rein in government debt, we will ensure that New South Wales functions for the benefit of the people of this state, not for the gang of mates who used to run the Sussex Street Mafia.
You and the Coalition supported this legislation establishing the solar bonus scheme when it went to the Parliament.
A great concept, a noble concept. The idea that we should reduce the amount of dependence on coal-fired power stations, that we should encourage people to be involved in eliminating or reducing the impact of greenhouse gas. We relied upon the government's figuring. The government's figuring was wrong. We relied upon the government to monitor the scheme. The government failed to monitor the scheme. The scheme has blown out. John Robertson's scheme, blown out, $1.9 billion deficit.
You committed yourself, and it was on your website, it's since been removed, and we'll get to that shortly, that you would honour the state government's current commitments. You are burning a lot of investors who, in good faith, took up this solar bonus scheme. Of course it was generous, and of course there are problems now, but that 100,000 or so people put their money up in good faith.
We are honouring our commitment. We are honouring our commitment to all of those people because every
They'll
person...
still get 60 cents per kilowatt hour.
They will get from the 1st of July 40 cents per kilowatt hour.
Well, you're not honouring.
And the
Why are you twisting, misinterpreting the words? You are not honouring.
No, we are honouring. Quentin, we have a responsibility. And we were elected on the 26th of March to discharge that responsibility. That responsibility is to the people of New South Wales, to the 3.2 million electricity consumers who aren't in the solar bonus scheme.
You're just torn up the contracts for the 60 cents per kilowatt hour.
We are honouring the commitment that we will retain the solar bonus scheme for those who've signed up and all those who have lodged their applications, even though those applications haven't been processed. But the only difference, it is a significant difference, I acknowledge that, and I apologise to all those people who feel disenchanted by our decision. All of those on 20 cents will stay on 20 cents. Those on 60 cents from the 1st of July will come down to 40 cents.
In clear breach of the contract, and you can only do that with retrospective legislation.
That will require legislation. The present legislation's entrenched by the outgoing Labor government. We didn't choose this. As everybody knows, this is a mess, John Robertson's mess, the present Leader of the Opposition, Minister for Energy, against the advice of his own department, as I've told Parliament, against the advice of the industry, against every significant figure in the industry, introduced this scheme, which has now blown out from 350 million to 1.9 billion. Quentin, you can't separate the deficit from the whole argument. It's the deficit which is at the bottom of the argument. The people of New South Wales, the taxpayers, the consumers, can't afford a $1.9 billion blowout left to them by John Robertson. We're cleaning it up.
Here we are, just over 50 days since the election of the government, and you have blown your credibility.
No, we haven't. We've honoured our commitment to the people of this state. We are giving them...
No, not to these investors who made their investment on assurances given by various members, including the leaders of your parties, the coalition parties, that your investment's safe. We will honour those commitments. So this is the breach of your commitment.
And their investment is safe. They are going to get still a very generous rate. These schemes are blown out all over Australia. West Australia itself today has announced it's cutting its rebate scheme from 40 cents to 20 cents. We are offering a very generous scheme. We're continuing to offer that scheme. We're continuing to make sure that everybody in the process is getting looked after. We are cleaning up 16 years of inertia in government, 16 years of mess left to us by John Robertson, and we are determined to fulfil our obligation given to us on the 26th of March.
Can you hold the party room? Catherine Cusack, the person that Barry O'Farrell didn't appoint, she pioneered solar bonus scheme on behalf of the coalition. She has written a letter and complained that you are reneging. This is a breach of trust with the public of New South Wales. Can you hold the party room on Tuesday?
We have the support of our members. Our members know the mandate they were given on the 26th of March was to clean up this state, and that's what they're doing,
Mr. Hartcher, all these members will soon realise on Tuesday that they are just fodder in the adversarial games that is inevitably played in the Blairford.
Unlike the Labor Party, we run a democratic system. We allow everybody to express their views, including...
And across the floor?
And across the floor, if they so elect and so advise the party room. That's well established in our rules. We don't expel people. If you wish to cross the floor, you must advise the party room, and then you can cross the floor.
Let's go to the question of your having to rely on the shooters and fishers and the Christian Democrats to get this through the upper house, retrospective legislation through the upper house. You're prepared to give them this leverage?
Look, under the Westminster system, both houses of Parliament have to vote for legislation.
What are you prepared to trade off with Fred Nile and the Borsak and Brown?
Barry O'Farrell, our leader, the Premier, has made it clear that we're not doing trade-offs. We're not doing trade-offs with anybody. Legislation will be presented to Parliament and debated on its merits. It's up to us to convince the Christian Democrats and the shooters of the necessity of this legislation. They know, as much as everybody else knows, that this deficit has to be rolled in and reined in.
What say you get done and it doesn't get through? Your retrospective legislation doesn't get through the upper house. What happens then? A hemorrhage of $1.9 billion, as you and Treasury have put on it.
That's right.
And then the consequences...
And that is passed on to the electricity consumers of the state, 3.2 million, who aren't in the scheme. They're the people we're looking after. We're looking after the taxpayers, $759 million of taxpayers' money. All the 3.2 million people who aren't in the solar bonus scheme, they're the ones we're looking after. They may not be out there demonstrating in the streets, but their bills are the bills that will be going up. Every quarter, everyone in New South Wales dreads getting their electricity bill now. They've spiralled under the Labor government. We're determined to bring that price spiral under control, and we're determined that we won't be slugging them with the cost of this solar bonus scheme.
Chris Hartcher, thanks very much.
Thank you, Quentin.